What am I even supposed to say for these intros anymore? Most of you already know what's up. If not, this is basically Warframe Trivia Hour. Spoiler warning like always, and without further ado, let's rock. The damage of Catabolus Reload Grenade is affected by Synth Charge, which means that the mod doesn't actually check to see if you have one shot left, but rather one shot or less. Tenant Plinx's Alt-Fire benefits from Synth Charge too. Gyre's Arc Sphere is attracted to Mag's Magnetize. This Mars tile in Sanctuary Onslaught is actually a reused tile from the old Law of Retribution raid. This Void Pyramid tile is also unique to Sanctuary Onslaught, appearing nowhere else in the game. The color of Korra's Whipclaw doesn't change along with her, minus the handle and the, butt plugs at the end. This goes for Korra Prime, too. If you complete the Agility Drift puzzle, you'll notice these organs with white rings around their necks. If you launch yourself out of each of these, it opens some extra rooms in the upper platform area. When doing the Power Drift puzzle, you can use both your Operator and your Warframe to fill up the energy orbs quicker. Even stranger, this allows you to complete the puzzle without filling up all of the orbs. You can actually do the Coaction Drift puzzle completely solo by using your Warframe, your Operator, and a few Spectres. If you have an on-call Railjack crewmate and Loki's Decoy, you don't even have to use any consumables. In the Endurance Drift room, you can shoot the backs of these laser plates to turn the lasers off. This is how you're actually supposed to do the puzzle, with one person standing in the middle and the teammates shooting the lasers to keep them off. This has been suggested so many times, though, that I thought I may as well include it. When carrying a Deacon Veil in an Archon showdown, nearby enemies are blinded. When making a Za, the Sepphon Strike can be used to make either a Nikana or a Staff. Strangely, this allows the Za Strike to benefit from Amalgam Daikyu's lifesteal effect as either a Nikana or a Staff, when it normally only works on Nikanas. The base of the Wishing Well in the Corpus ship tile set can be shot right through without any need for punch-through. There's a globe light in this classroom on the Zariman that can be toggled on and off. You can also find various data pads around the Zariman that, when interacted with, have Tuval explaining some of the lore surrounding the events of the jump. If the Railjack is being flown by a teammate or an AI crewmate, you'll stay snapped to it as an Archwing so long as you're close. Liches can grapple rescue targets, and if they throw them off the map, they'll die instantly. In the Corpus Crash ship tile set, this ice bridge can be destroyed by standing on it, but it can't be destroyed by any projectiles or explosions. If you do break the bridge, you can land on this floating ship chunk underneath it and write it down to the teleport volume. You can also float around with this guy in the dry dock, though where he is specifically is client-side, so you can just see people floating around in multiplayer. Energy grabbed by the Operator is given to your Warframe, but it can't activate buffs like Energize or Energy Conversion. Picking up motes from Emergence Dissipate doesn't give energy to your frame, and neither does standing in range of an energy pad. Killing an Eximus enemy while in last gasp will revive you instantly. Summoned AI like Railjack crewmates and Spectres will target hives in the infested hive mode. Hall and his brothers normally just kinda spontaneously manifest when summoned, but if on an open world, they'll actually fly in on a dropship. Stealth attack damage actually scales with weapon level, from 100% more damage at unranked going up to 700% more damage at level 30. This damage does not go up beyond level 30 and is additive with crit damage. Dual Skana's blueprint preview shows 2 full-length Skanas, while the actual weapon has 1 short Skana and 1 regularly sized Skana. Strangely, Excalibur in the Veilbreaker loading screen art does actually wield 2 equal-length Skanas. Veils taken by Call change color to match his color palette once he grabs them. Shard Hex Ephemera shards aren't actually stuck to the player, so if you move on something like a platform, you'll leave them behind. On some Ceres tiles, such as the Interception/Defense tile and during the boss fight, lightning will periodically strike, damaging enemies and players. You can activate Transference as Temporal Anchor starts, maintaining your position and still benefiting from the rewind. Iron Staff visually increases in length as you add range mods. Slowing abilities like Temporal Drag slow the rate at which Liches recover health when downed. Temporal Drag can also slow enemies with Overguard. In Captura, enabling friendly fire and magnetizing a teammate will cause them to be completely unable to move, unless they jump, where they'll just fly straight up. You can also die in Captura by getting Transference Static ×4, which is done by dying as your Operator 4 times. If this happens, you'll go into the down state, eventually dying with no way of being revived. If this happens, it's a soft lock and requires you to either switch scenes or leave Captura entirely. Set mods have a different visual effect when equipped in the arsenal compared to normal mods. The Orokin Eye air support marks sentient cores, which lets you obliterate your teammates' eyes in an Eidolon hunt. By taking Scavenger, you can open containers in Sanctuary Onslaught. This normally only yields stuff like ammo, health, and energy, though I have heard that it can yield region-specific resources like Hexanon, and I have also had it drop credits for me on one occasion. Take the resource drops with a grain of salt though, I've never run into it myself. Some Jupiter tiles in Sanctuary Onslaught also can have their Amalgam Labs opened. Skyboxes in certain Sanctuary Onslaught tiles, primarily ones that take place in ships, show random space skyboxes, which can lead to weird and normally impossible combinations. Cernos Prime and Kuva Chakur have a 50% bonus to headshot damage, and Synapse has a built-in 20%, which multiply after other headshot bonuses from stuff like Primary Deadhead. Call can't heavy attack with his Slatra, but he can perform a heavy slam. Entering an extraction area will forcibly close the overlay map if it's open, and prevent opening the stat screen, even if extraction isn't actually available. Allied Trokar units can still force the player into Operator with their staff. Corpus also have shield gating, where only 5% of the damage inflicted on them makes it through to their health once their shield breaks, though this is ignored if the shot is a headshot. If a headshot is a critical hit, it will have another 2 times damage multiplier on top of the crit damage and regular headshot multiplier. This goes for all enemies. Keeping with the headshot theme, the Haket has no headshot multiplier, but does take bonus damage when shot in the backpack. The Machinist also has no headshot multiplier, though the backpack isn't even part of the hitbox at all. Shooting Eureles 3 with Surging Blades into a Compressa bubble cluster causes a large bubble to appear and hold on to the blade, which can damage enemies touching the bubble and increases Surging Blades damage. Placing a Forma on Warframes, weapons, and companions gives them access to a second energy color channel, though things that can't be polarized, like the Railjack and Operators and Drifters, will have this channel by default. Allied AI attack roller floofs in the Dog Days Captura scene, and pets will play with them if placed in the Orbiter. Funnily enough, Vauban's Tesla Nervos will hit them, but can't stick, making them chase the balls around pretty much forever. The blades orbiting Garuda during the charge for Seeking Talons actually deal damage to enemies and can push them around, with the damage scaling with strength. You have to get really close to enemies for it to trigger though. Running into enemies with Electric Shield will knock them down, but for some reason Drox and Hayekas just get fucking launched. If you turn off an enemy's AI in the Simulacrum and then mind control them, it will remain off even if you turn enemy AI back on. Just south of Ostwan Range on the plains, there's this zipline with a super fucked up texture. Mods like Amalgam Barrel Diffusion and Amalgam Serration still benefit you even if a sortie modifier prevents you from using the weapon it's equipped on. Incarnate weapons can be charged by headshotting corpses. Zenith's Altfire disc deals damage and has infinite punch through, which can be kinda goofy with mags too. The Penta's grenades can do this as well. Shout out to that B person on YouTube for posting the video that brought this to my attention. The Buzzlock can lock onto allies. The decoration snapping grid in the Orbiter is actually off by about a half step when in the Drifter camp, as compared to how the grid is laid out in the regular Orbiter. The majority of Warframe arcanes still apply while in Arcwing. Weapon stats in the arsenal are in alphabetical order, so they appear in a different order depending on the language you have selected. In the Hunhow boss fight, you can enter your Operator by activating Last Gasp, which shows the icon for Excalibur's super jump in your abilities. Selecting it shows Transference as its name, and it isn't usable. Looking at Hunhow through a synthesis scanner also reveals that he is secretly a Corpus Osprey. You can chat-link a scrapped item called the Orican Monitor in-game, which seems to be a cut idea from the Fortuna update involving glaciers. Concealed explosives can be equipped on the Egret. Egret also instantly explodes on contact with water. Many ephemeras still work in the Lavarian. Varuna makes the eyes of the statues in the Circulus glow, though this doesn't work in the Captura scene. Void damage is unaffected by physical and elemental sortie modifiers, as it is technically neither. If a defection mission appears on a Corpus node, usually through a sortie, it still uses Grineer hacking. The mining laser has multiple zoom levels. The drop chances for Ivara parts are significantly higher in Corpus Spy Railjack nodes when compared to normal Spy. Equipping the Okuri Tails ephemera changes the primary energy channel color if no energy color is selected. This is most obvious on Necros' Urkala Deluxe and Hildren's Einherry Deluxe. Wisp's passive shows her equipped weapons even if they're set to not be visible while holstered. Ciphers can't be used in sorties, nightmare missions, or Archon hunts, though Auto Breach and Perspicacity still work and actually have a unique animation when activating on an armor hack. Plains ammo caches spawn much larger than normal ammo drops. Might Rachnoids on the Valis also drop these huge ammo boxes. Alright, another episode down. Thank you so much to my Discord for suggesting entries for this episode, and don't be too bummed out if something you suggested didn't make it in. I have so many entries saved up that I had to split them into 2 episodes, so there's a good chance it'll end up in the next one. Feel free to leave suggestions for future episodes in the comments on this video, as well as in the dedicated channel over on the Discord, which can be joined using the link in the description. Like if you enjoyed, dislike if I wasted your time, and subscribe if you want to see more garbage in the future. I stream at 5:30 PM CST on Sundays if you want to drop by, and feel free to check out some of my other stuff. There's a lot more where this series came from, as well as some more unorthodox stuff that I post from time to time. With all that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all with more recipes in Volume 9.